Welcome to All Things Retreat Podcast. I'm Holly Porter, your host and CEO of Retreat R&R. With over 25 years of experience in designing transformative retreats, I'm here to share insights and inspiration to help you create extraordinary experiences. Whether you're a pro or just starting out, you'll find valuable ideas here. Enjoy the ride. Let's dive in. Hello and welcome everyone to the show. We're going to be having another little conversation here with a great guy named Steve Barton, and he's a high performance executive coach and author and creator of US registered coaching process, the Game of 10. Can't wait to hear about that. A powerful awareness-based framework that helps leaders break free from fear, self-doubt, guilt, and shame so that they can operate at their highest level of business and life. Welcome to the show, Steve.
Well, thank you, Holly, for having me. I'm really excited to talk to you more. We had a brief conversation, and I think we're not going to have a lack of conversation during this.
No, we were just saying how we're both ADHD, so you got to really listen to this one because we're going to be all over it. No, I'm just kidding.
We'll reel it in.
But I love bringing guests on that not necessarily are in the retreat industry or doing retreats yet, because there's just different ways to look at everything. And so you're going to have a little more of an outsider perspective in not doing and being involved in retreats yet. But definitely I want to hear about, like, in your life, what led you to create the Game of 10? Let's talk about that.
Well, we talked about this earlier, I was in the flower business for 30 years. I grew up at 8 years old. My father took over my grandfather's greenhouse. He turned it into a flower shop. He joined FTD. We ended up, so I was 8 years old. So I worked in the greenhouse and I worked in the flower shop, and I was designing flowers at 8 years old and always knew what I wanted to do. So I went to college and studied business and got out of business school here in Portland, Maine. And I knew I couldn't work with my father. We just were like oil and water. And, but I really loved the business, and I had a one-way ticket to Europe to study floral design. And 3 days before I was leaving, my mother called. They were at an FTD convention in Kansas City, Missouri, and my father had a stroke. So he lived to be 91, and he was still ornery and cantankerous all his life. It didn't slow him down a bit. So anyway, yeah, so that was put me in at 22 years old running the business, and for 30 years we grew it from 200,000 a year to 2 million, and that's a lot of flowers. I know you used to deliver flowers, so that's a lot of roses and a lot of flowers. So anyway, loved it. Got out just before 2008 crash. And I think the biggest compliment my father said to me goes, "How did you know? How did you know when to get out?" And so we got out at a right good time, and it's recovered much.
Right.
But there was a couple years where people were canceling their corporate florals for their lobbies, and they were wherever they're going to cut back. Flowers were where they're going to cut back. So glad to get out of there, and and I left after 30 years liking it, not loving it. Just wanted to get out. So I love technology, I love business, I love coaching. So 13 years into running the flower shop, I decided to go to therapy. And that's when everything changed. I really had a wild, I had an awakening. I had a out of body experience. I didn't know I had emotions. And because I was always taught, you shouldn't feel that way. Why do you feel that way? You're wrong. And so finally I just said, okay, I just don't have them. And so I was 36 years old when I said, well, I guess I have some emotions. And I think the only emotion that there is love, and the rest are illusions. So then that's basically what the Game of 10 is all about. It's, in personal relationships, it's love, and in business, it's respect of self and respect of others, and being honest and working with all the attributes of 10. And 10 is our highest level of awareness, which is the divine, whatever you want to call it. Okay.
Yeah.
Some call it God, some call it spirit, some call it awareness, some call it consciousness, awareness. It's all the same thing. It's one energetic field that connects us all. And so that's what the Game of 10 is all about, connecting to that energetic field and using awareness versus thought. So
Yeah, I love that.
yeah.
Wow. Well, a lot of our, retreat leaders in the name.
Mhm.
So if you're listening and you're a retreat leader, which most of ours are, that's what you help. You help leaders and you help them with self-doubt, fear, guilt, shame. And what do you think those kinds of things, how they influence decisions that leaders make every day?
Well, growing up, there's from 0 to 7, we are in theta. So we take on all of our parents' generational traumas, whether they
Yeah.
know it or not. And typically they don't know it and we don't know it. And so we get programmed subconsciously. And oftentimes that's how we react. That's how we see a lens of awareness every
Hmm.
day without even knowing it. So we get programmed without knowing it. And that's called our
Yeah.
subconscious. So we have to bring it to consciousness, but most people don't want to look at the pain. And let me put it this way, I'll keep it simple, the game of 10. We're all born in appointed 10. And through
Mm.
life's disappointments, and if they're continuous, we hold on to them. Once we accept them into our self of not being good enough, not being not enough, not doing enough, not having enough, not being right, not being 10, then that's how we look at our others as well as
Hmm.
ourselves. And we're always, then we look through that gap between, let's say, for example, 6 is pretty common in most people that I work with. They come to me and they work around 6 on a scale of 1 to 10. How I ask them, how happy, healthy, wealthy, healed, and whole are you? I'll give it a 6. I said, well, there's
Mm.
40, it's more than 40, there's a 40% gap. And in that gap, that's where people want to fill in to be whole. And oftentimes they'll use things that are addictive to fill it in. And it can be,
Yeah.
you name it.
True.
It's not just alcohol, drugs, and or
Hmm.
porn. There's so many addictions that overtake us. Emotions can overtake us. Relationships can
Yeah.
overtake us. And that's what the gap is. So you either fill it in with your self respect, self awareness, self love, or it will
Mm.
be filled in with something outside of you that will overtake you. So that's the basics of the game of 10. Want to hear the phrases? They're amazing. They shut off. I teach people, what do I get by doing the game of 10? I said, well, you're going to stop thinking. What? Yeah. They go, what do you mean? And then I'll say, well, would you rather think or would you rather know? I'd
Mm.
rather know. And what happens is we overthink and we block our consciousness with thoughts. And they're all
Yeah.
from the past. And it's been proven. Cleveland Clinic did a study years ago that 80%, we have 60,000, the average person has 60,000 thoughts a day. Of those
Hmm.
60, 80% are from the past. And of those past thoughts, and even all thoughts, 80% of those are negative.
Yeah.
Well, the odds of us thinking something great about ourselves is 1 in 5.
Yeah.
So we're trained to be negative and conditioned to be negative. So that's why a lot of coaches and people in the personal development think positive thinking. Well, I'm coaching that don't think at all. Okay. Use your
Yeah.
thoughts. Okay. Use your thoughts, use your emotions, use your feelings, use your mind, use your body as a tool from the place of awareness and use
Yeah.
it appropriately when needed. It's a tool that you sharpen. You can be better at thinking. You can be better at controlling your thoughts, feelings, and emotions, and skills, communication skills. But you can't be better from awareness. That is perfection on a platter. That is our divine
Yes.
right. That is who we are. So it's really using those skills, and most people have the skills, use them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's
I
the
love
difference.
the positive. I'll tell you, you're speaking my language in a lot of things here as I'm thinking, but because I had a near death experience when I was in the hospital and almost died. So a lot of people have heard my story. And when I was in what I call the stadium of light, there wasn't a negative thought. Like you wouldn't even have thought to think it, so to speak. It's
It's
like
amazing.
everything,
Yes.
it was just full of love and joy and peace.
Yeah.
And it's like you just don't get, like, you don't question anything because you have the gift of all knowing.
Yeah.
And it's just so positive. It's like, gosh, if I could live in that space and work to live in that space every day that I was in, your life would be so different for everybody, definitely
Yeah.
me. But
Yeah.
it's just such a different space to not have all those negative thoughts, because we come
Yeah.
here in our earthly bodies and that's what we get.
Yeah, it's the game of 10's about being natural, not being normal. Okay. So with the state that you're describing, I mean, everyone I talk to who has had an out of body, you can't describe it if you haven't. I understand, and I know that everyone's is different.
Yeah.
But it all has to do with in a state of that grace and gratitude and awareness. So, want to do the game of 10 with me? There's 6 phrases, and
Okay.
I'll tell you the phrases and repeat them. As you know, 10 is your highest level of awareness, and so these are declarations. It's a active meditation that quiets the mind. I'm with ADHD. You ever tried to sit down and do for an hour? Forget it. I
Yeah.
can't do it.
No, I
So
can't. I
yeah,
last about 3 minutes.
yeah, I'm done with myself. And so I've developed these and it works. It quiets the mind. And I'll
That's
send them to you if you want to send them out to your people. So
Yeah, happy to.
the first one is I'm 10. Repeat after me.
I'm 10.
Yeah, how about saying like that? You're saying that you're an aspect of God. So I'm 10.
I'm 10.
I'm doing the best that I can with the awareness that I have.
I'm doing the best that I can with the awareness that I have.
I'm always right with the awareness that I have.
I'm always right with the awareness that I have.
I am enough.
I am enough.
I do enough.
I do enough.
I have enough.
I have enough.
That's it. It answers all the questions our identity, our ego, our conscious, subconscious is trying to figure out. We okay? We're good. So quiet down. So I teach when I coach people. The first thing I say is memorize these phrases for the next session and say them at least 5 times a day. And it
Mm-hmm.
between phone calls, between conversations, between just do it, and it doesn't take any time. You do it when
Yeah.
you're going to your car. You could do it when you go into the bathroom. Do it so it doesn't take any extra time out of your day. And the
Yeah.
other thing is, what happens is, I've had a couple people bliss out by saying this. Like, one guy was at my weekly business group. Comes in, he says, "Oh my God!" I go, his name is Steve too, and I said, "How you doing, Steve?" "Oh my God, I didn't sleep last. I'm overthinking and blah blah blah." I said, "See me after." So we did the phrases, and he starts laughing. He goes, "I can't think. I can't think." Are you blissing out? He shook his head up and down. "I can't think." I go, "If you leave your body, let me know, and I'll help you get back in." So
Wow.
he blissed out. I've never blissed out before from it, but it does quiet my mind. So what
No,
do
I
you?
think it's amazing to be, it's kind of like the I am statements,
Yeah.
that you're
Well,
putting in there.
those
Yeah.
statements, I am, I do, and I have are the be do haves, and those put
Hmm.
you in they put you in the present moment. And what a lot of people don't recognize is the universal space, the universal time. Eckhart Tolle wrote the book The Power of Now. Now is the present moment, is universal,
Yeah.
always is the present moment. Can't be anything else. So, but they don't. He hasn't talked about. He doesn't talk about the universal space or the universal portion, and that is enough. Now is always enough. And when we
Mm.
start from that place of enough and now, that opens up the portal to setting goals, setting intentions without
Yeah.
a lot of old thought static that's coming in. So you have a clear connection to universal source energy, and that's when you put your orders in. Okay.
Yeah. I'm curious. I have a question for you about, if when you were saying you did years of therapy.
No, I did 3 sessions.
Three, okay, because I was gonna say I'm a firm believer. I'm certified for hypnosis, so
Yeah.
I love hypnosis because I feel like you can do, and also energy work I do, and I feel like you can like get through things so much faster. I mean, one session's like
Yeah.
10 years of therapy, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I was just kind of curious what you thought of that.
I think
Have
it's
you ever done that?
anything you do for yourself that gets. I had mine came all at once because I was reading A Course in Miracles. I was reading Stephen
Oh
Covey's
yeah.
7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I was reading Elizabeth Kubler-Ross, Death and Dying. I was going to a therapist, and I forgave everybody. And that's when I had my wow. Had no idea that I left my body and I was still connected, but
Sure.
it changed my life. And it took me about a month and a half to get back to normal. Okay. Meaning
Yeah.
have this knowledge and wisdom of who we are in living in daily life among people that if you tell, they thought I was telling people what happened. They thought I was crazy. Some still do.
Yeah.
3 years ago. So it's when when you finally go sane, people think you're crazy. So
Yeah, it's true.
I am crazy like a fox, and
Me too.
that's what I like to say, that I'm crazy like a fox, and I use my intuition daily. And that's the
Yeah,
other thing of the game of 10. It's really opened your intuition and intentionality to manifest. So setting goals, in normal language, setting goals, and without having a lot of old patterns of sabotage, imposter syndrome, and all
yeah.
that, blocking it from old thoughts. And part of the game of ten's also about, when you say these phrases, it does open up old stuff to come up. That I call that the game often played. And that is, I'm not enough, I don't do enough, and I don't have
Yeah,
enough. I'm not right with the awareness I have. I'm not doing the best I can with the awareness, and I'm definitely not 10. Okay. So
yeah.
when those thoughts do come up, it's just as important aspect of those phrases balances it out to let go of those thoughts. And I was trained during COVID. The good thing about COVID for me was I got to meet Marianne Williamson. She was
Oh,
around.
nice.
Yeah, she was my coach for a miracle minded coaching. And then when I wrote the book, The Father, the Son, the Aha Moment with my son, she was my writing coach, one of them. So
Nice.
she's a 13 times author plus 7 times New York Times bestseller.
Yeah,
Amazing. Get to know her on a not personal level, but professional level. And
yeah.
just trained by one of the and she taught me this, that so whenever, how to forgive. And I actually used it on a client who was a minister. And he goes, I taught him how to forgive. And that was pretty funny, to teach a minister how to forgive. And so what we do is create a temple in your mind, because as Marianne puts it, God is an idea in the mind of us, and we're an idea in the mind of God. So when you have no thoughts, you have ideas, and
Yeah.
then that's right brain, and then left brain we turn into a thought. That, because thoughts are forms, so you create forms in physical world from thoughts, right? But who thinks of that? So in our mind, create a temple, and in that temple have an altar. Any thoughts that come up that are not a game of 10 or loving towards you, put the thoughts on the altar. Most people think they have to forgive the thought. Most people think they have to forgive the person, place, or situation that hurt them, disappointed them, or harmed
Mm,
them. But the fact is, you have to forgive the thoughts around it and the stories you made around it. It doesn't mean it didn't
yeah.
happen. It doesn't mean it wasn't horrific. It doesn't mean that at all. It just doesn't mean it has to control your life anymore. And
Yeah.
when you let go of people, places, and situations and traumas, you do it for you. You don't do it for
Mhm.
them. They can rot. Okay, they can.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway,
I always envision those thoughts going. I envision a cloud comes in and you put that thought on a cloud and then you just watch it float away and it's
let it
gone.
go. Let it go.
Mm.
There's more than many ways to do it. Whatever way works for you.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I was
Yeah.
just thinking of, I haven't thought of that practice for a while, so I'm glad you reminded me of it.
Yeah.
If every entrepreneur listening today embraced one principle from your work, what would it be?
Never give up. Always let go, but never give up.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that's a good one. That's
Just made
very
that
good.
up. Just made that up for you, Holly.
Hey, sometimes it just got to get it when it
Yeah,
comes.
I channeled that one for you.
I love it. Thank you. I receive. When okay, let's do a few rapid fire little
Right.
questions. Okay, no right or wrong answer, just the first thing comes top of mind. Okay, coffee or tea?
Coffee. I'm drinking coffee right now. ADHD coffee. Give me the
Caffeine.
stimulus.
Caffeine IV. Are you a morning person or night owl?
Both.
Oh, wow. I like my sleep too much. What word describes great leadership?
Kindness with authority.
Biggest lesson business has taught you?
Create value, and you'll always be fine.
What's a book that's changed your life?
Course in Miracles.
I hear you. I've been hearing that one a lot lately, so we must need it out there. Most underrated success habit.
Showing up on time.
What is one thing people misunderstand about intuition?
That it's woo woo.
That is woo woo. Yeah, it's true. What's a fear that you personally had to overcome?
I think the fear of not being liked or
Hmm.
understood or understood. Toss
Okay.
up, toss up. Now I don't. I had to come up with a word. I did. It's called tenkare, and it was it. I did a three chat question. What does it mean when you deeply, deeply, deeply care and deeply, deeply, deeply don't give a few fill in the blank? Okay, and it
Okay.
came up with all three chats came up with compassionate detachment, and which is so important even coaching, therapy, friendships, that you don't take on somebody else's
Yeah.
depression, anxiety, because that's energy can be transferred. So I came up with it. So I wanted one word. There wasn't one I could come up with. So I made one up, and I love marketing. I love branding. So I came up with Tencare, Tencare. Put an accent at the end, so it's Tencare.
Take away.
When I really deeply, yeah, I want to hear all about that. Do you think I really give a about it? No, but I want to hear it. I care and don't care. I'm not attached to it, and and that's what a great leader has to be. Some really horrific stuff happens. You have to care deeply, but a lot of leaders will react versus what are we going to do about it? I care and I
Yeah.
don't care. Let's fix this now. Get it taken care of. Take care of clean up the mess after we put out the fire, and so that's part of leadership as well.
Okay. Wow. Well, thanks a lot for sharing your words of wisdom today. I'm going to put your information in the show notes. If you want to hand me over those 6 statements, I will add those as well. That would be fabulous. I'm sure our listeners would love that gift. That's a great gift. And any last words?
They can also download my book for free on my website, www.stevebartoncoaching.com, and scroll down to the bottom, fill in name, email address. You will get some 5 coaching trickles after that, but to act upon it or not, Tenkare, okay? And
Okay.
if people are interested, then great. If they're not, great. That's well. They get to read the book, and that's part. I think a lot of it is brain. If you don't brainwash yourself, you're going to be brainwashed by the television or society.
Right.
So I love brainwashing myself and keeping it clean,
That's right.
pristine. Yeah. So yeah, that's the best way. And I'm on LinkedIn too. Share some wisdom there every week on a.
And we'll put all those links right in the show notes so people
You're
can
going
follow
to take
me.
care of me. I know that. And I'm always available for retreats as well. So anyone out there for retreats, I'd love to do a game of 10 retreats. So I'm going to talk to Holly about that after.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Definitely. I'm all for that. Okay, everyone. We're going to see you next time on the show. And thanks again, Steve. Bye
Thank
for
you.
now. Thanks for joining us on this episode of All Things Retreat. We hope you're leaving with new ideas, fresh inspiration, and the motivation to take your retreats to the next level. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review. It helps us grow and reach more retreat leaders like you. And if you have any questions, topics you'd like us to cover, or just want to say hello, send us an email at info@weretreatrnr.com. Follow us on social media to stay connected and catch all the latest updates. Until next time, remember, great retreats start with great intentions. Let's make them extraordinary, one step at a time. Thinking about hosting a retreat? Before you dive in, let's make sure you're really ready. Grab your free Are You Retreat Ready checklist and find out if you've got everything in place from your purpose and pricing to your audience and agenda. Don't guess. Get clear. This quick checklist will show you exactly where you stand and what you need to make your retreat a success. Click the link below in the show notes to grab your gift and take the first step toward hosting with confidence.